Hello, everyone, and welcome to Known Co-working and SCORE Fairfield County's workshop on planning and managing business growth. I'm Bob Hogan, the workshop coordinator today and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'm going to be your host, and our presenter is Bill Schloth. More on Bill in just a minute. This series is being done in collaboration with Known Co-working, so I'd now like to turn it over to Barb Nangle at Known for some introductory remarks. Barb?
Great. Thank you so much, Bob. And thank you, Bill. I'm really excited for this workshop. Hello, everybody. My name is Barb Nangle. I am the community manager here at Known Co-working. And we are a dynamic co-working space in downtown New Haven, Connecticut. And we're also an entrepreneur serving organization, which is why we've partnered with SCORE of Fairfield County to bring you these hybrid workshops. So for anybody who's in the greater New Haven area, we'd love for you to physically come to the space for these workshops and join us and get a tour of the place. I also want to let everybody know that regardless of whether you are physically in the New Haven area or not, we are offering a VIP offer, which what that results in for you is a complimentary discovery session. This is for people who are entrepreneurs that are looking to take their business to the next level. And then if you're in the New Haven area, if you fill out the VIP form, which I'll put the link in the chat for a moment, you will get a 50% discount on co-working membership or conference room rental, as long as you book that within the next 30 days. It doesn't have to be within the next 30 days. So let's say you wanted to do an event an event in June, you could go ahead and book that now and still get the 50% discount for that. So I will put the link in the chat. Oh, wait, can I put something in the chat? Will that go to the everybody? Everyone,
Yes,
there we go.
Okay. You can send it to everybody.
Okay, there we go. I changed it. I had it set on Bob. So, and feel free to private message me if you have questions about that or anything about the Known Co-working space. And then I think, Bob, are you going to talk about the upcoming other two workshops that we have in this series?
I think Bill's going to do that. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. I think that's it. But feel free to message me privately in the chat if anybody has questions for me. Okay. And thanks again, both to SCORE, Bob and Bill.
Great. All right. Thanks, Barb. Just some brief information on SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the SBA with over 10,000 volunteers across the country. And locally here at SCORE Fairfield County, we have over 100 volunteers with a wide range of industry process and subject matter expertise. And we offer three primary value-added services that you can see on the screen there. The first is one-on-one business mentoring, and you can access that either in person, by video, telephone, email, whatever works best for you. And to do that, you can use that yellow bit.ly link that you see on the screen, or you can go to our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org, and just click on the Request a Mentor button. Secondly, we offer a wide range of education programs like the one today, and we also offer in-person and online. And lastly, we offer extensive resources on our website, which would include tools and information and access to subject matter experts. Our next SCORE webinar will be next Wednesday, April 26th at noon, and the topic is government contracting, getting federal contracts, with Jerry Smith presenting. Again, you can find the specifics on our website, and if you're on our website, you can also have access to a large number of on-demand workshops on a wide range of topics. Just some logistics on today's webinar. We have set aside time for questions, and you can ask a question at any time by using the Q&A button, which is typically located at the bottom of your screen. And we'll take as many as we can up to the top of the hour after Bill's finished his presentation. Our workshop will end sharply at the top of the hour at 1 o'clock to respect your time. We are recording the workshop, and the link will be available within the next day or so on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. Bill Schloth has been investing in, managing, and selling startups and emerging businesses for over 25 years. He spent 20 years as an investment banker working with a wide range of companies in various industries across the globe. Bill has been involved with numerous IPOs, has expertise with alternative financing strategies, and enjoys the thrill of the deal. He is a CPA and has an MBA in marketing from New York University. I'll now turn it over to Bill. Bill, it's all yours.
Thanks, Bob. And Barb, nice to meet you. And look forward to stopping up and seeing the facility. I hear good things about it, so I look forward to that. Good afternoon, lunchtime to everyone. I'd love to start off any of the presentations sort of with the entrepreneur's journey. And I always say this, how can you tell if someone is an entrepreneur? To me, it's not that hard. Don't worry, we'll tell you. That's what you'll find people get excited, but I'll tell you a little bit more about myself in a minute. I like to also start off with, this thought about attitude is everything. Life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react to it. And we're in charge of our attitude. Now, I sound like a wise old man, but I bring that up because being an entrepreneur, my career, I'll back you up a little bit, 10 years in well-known multinational organizations, Coopers & Lybrand, GE Capital. And then I got the bug to become an entrepreneur. A lot of people couldn't understand, why I'd take a chance like that. I jumped, and for the past 25 years, I haven't worked for anybody. Of course, I questioned a bunch of times, my decision to say, let's go for it. I've had businesses, as Bob said, I've had business succeed. It's a good thing. I've had them fail. I've had them be sold. I've had them go public. I've had them devastated by 9/11. In other words, I've experienced quite the ups and downs, and I turned 60 3 weeks ago. So doing a little of that soul searching. And I bring that up because I sat back and I said to myself, okay, wow, I have 4 children. They're out of the house. They're somehow surviving. I have 2 new grandchildren. And I said, well, how did I do that? And when I thought about it, all I could come up with was, frankly, is a concept of working hard, being persistent, and having the right attitude. And I bring that up to all of us because people on this phone line here are entrepreneurs, and I want to say it's possible. Go do it, but you have to do it right. One last thing I'll add, which it makes me a bit of a strange breed, and then I'm going to shoot my head out of the picture. I'll put you a better looking picture up because I tend to move around a lot. But I just want to, I'm a strange breed only because I'm a CPA. So I have that accounting side of me. And they also have an MBA, Bob said. And I really love the marketing as a piece of it. But at the same token, you can never, ever take your eye off the numbers and managing by the numbers, that they tell a story, an important story. So we'll get into that. So that was my little opening, and I am going to shift just me off the screen a little bit here, put a better looking photo, and let's dive in. So you're going to hear the theme today. This is about a series of workshops coming up, but one thing you're going to hear throughout pretty much all of the workshops is knowing your audience. It's an important key to a successful business and successful relationships. So maybe we can just see in the chat box if you might want to put, just for me to give me some sense so I can try to get a better flavor, maybe gear some of the presentation towards you. If you could write if you're for-profit, nonprofit, and maybe just give me an idea of what needs you may have. That's the audience. And I get that in general by saying if you're 1, 2, 3, or 4, which would be great. Validate an idea, just started your biz, existing biz with 1 to 3 years, or an existing biz greater than that for 4 years. That gives me a little help knowing what I'm dealing with. So I'll look at that as we go along. Top reasons startups fail. I've talked about attitude, and you might say, he's starting off rough. He's saying startup reasons fail. I don't use that expression. I really believe it's really top challenges startups, small businesses face to succeed. And we go right down the list. And this is, if you follow this, it's part of the series and how we have positioned the different sections. The biggest reasons and the challenge that companies face, startups, small businesses, is no market need, no interest in what they're producing. The second one is the unfortunate piece of running out of business, out of cash. And there's a number of other items here. This presentation is obviously available. You can get the slides, but we'll touch on them briefly here. the two other workshops that are going to follow are going to go much deeper dive into marketing. And then the second one would be funding. And both of those fall in the top two, as well as touch on the other ones on the screen with things like not the right team, get out competed, price cost issues, user unfriendly product without a business model, poor marketing. Again, challenges that you're going to face. That's your list. What I like to do, the presentations, my goal today, if I can probably deliver you some, a little bit of an aha moment, or just start making you aware of, tools that exist today. And we've come a long way. I am 60 now. And when I started all this, we were using faxes and everything else. There's a lot of tools that are available that although I was with someone yesterday and we talked about the success rate of small entrepreneur startups. And unfortunately, still over the past 30 years, even with this abundance of information we can get, the numbers have not creeped up that much at all. So all the internet and all the tools, however, using them correctly, I do believe you will have much better success rate than the average. Do a little bit on the math because I'm an accountant, a little bit on the math of business success, and I'm keeping it simple. So the audience, your revenue is your top line, if I use that expression, your costs to operate the business. And in the end, you'll hear the reference to bottom line, but the costs have to be less than the revenue, or you'll run into cash flow items and your business will not be on the trajectory that I'm sure you had hoped. The paths to business success, and this is how I'll approach touching on the other series that are going to follow. I break them into 4 areas: having a business plan, having the right team, having sales. There is some people, I own myself personally a nonprofit. Now, I didn't like that sometimes we lean so heavily on a business. I'd like to say the nonprofit itself is a business, a mission. So a lot of what we talk about here, I do believe can just be integrated into, if you are in the nonprofit area, that same stuff applies. So I don't like to just say it's for the business. And then the investment side of thing is a very tricky one, especially for the small businesses and startups. I've raised quite a bit of money for companies. And unfortunately, sometimes I try to slow them down. Everybody thinks they need money, but we want to try to slow that capital coming in, because once you get into that process, there's other types of challenges that arise, but you'll hear more on the funding aspect later. Picking the right path to cash flow. Cash flow, as an accountant too, is critical. It makes that equation work. That can be funding or revenue you generate. This chart I just put here only to say there's a lot of components of cash flow that you need to consider, both on the revenue side, which is to the left, and the cost side. I'm not going to take too deep a dive now, but I do bring up the next slide, which is not meant to scale, but the funding side will be explained more with the next series. The path to funding and the right sizes, what's called stage aligned, I'll identify, would be what stage are you at for the money you're going to take. And there's a lot of unique alternative products that are available that I'm sure you'll hear about that are now aligning investors, in my opinion, better with business owners. In our past, we've had a lot of times where we were bringing capital of investors that were not as active as I would have liked. Finding strategic sources to help fund your business, strategic partners to help fund your business is out there now. You can get to them, and that should be explored. But so I'll have to throw this chart up. You won't be able to say, you can look on it. It has a lot to say, but I'll just leave it. I'll leave it for you to look at, as well as the individual that will be doing the funding session coming up. I'm just going to have to get the dates. If someone could put the dates of that marketing and funding session up on the screen. I don't recall them right now. That would be helpful. I touch on another item that it was an issue for me. I'm here to share. Why I'm doing this is to share, maybe there's something I can do that can help you avoid something that was a bit painful. I have a son who's an entrepreneur now, and I keep trying to say things to him. He said to me the other day, well, maybe you have to fail at something. And you have to let him do his own thing, but there is this, more I can get out there, the better I feel about, going in. And why I say this is work-life balance. My old days of GE, multinational, I worked a lot. And did I work too much? I'm not going to get involved in that. It's more of now where I am, but it's become very important, this work-life balance. And I really do believe it. And you have to watch your health and everything else. So I bring up, well, what I call the acronym of PEACE, which is if you have these pieces, components, your business, has a lot of going for it, which would be planning and procedures, educating yourself, your business, your employees, bringing awareness to yourself, your business, your employees, automation. You'll hear me continually talk about. It has some phenomenal developments because of the digital aspect of things that have a role. We'll talk briefly on it. Bob hosted a seminar, a workshop yesterday on artificial intelligence. Very powerful, used properly. The fourth piece in the piece is capital. Most businesses will require some source of funding, startups, to get you going. But capital is the way you take capital, the timing you take capital, and who you take it from. All is a real important component. And I like to bring up, and it says the word peace, which is the end, it says exit. Now, when I bring up that word, a lot of times when I'm consulting with people, working with any portfolio companies I might have, we do have a plan, all of us, that's longer. We're living a lot longer, so we have to plan even a little better. But when you're a business owner, you do have some, you need to look a little bit towards like, where do I really want to go with this? And that is, whether it's an exit means giving it to someone in the family, succession, selling it. I just like to bring it into the puzzle, because then when you're working with someone or you're thinking about it, that's in mind with some of your planning. So that word peace, hopefully we all have it. It leads us onward. Tool-wise, you'll hear me talk about leaving emails, and I'll get a hold of the emails and we can just share. There's different tools that you're going to find that SCORE has. I'll bring up next slide that there's some publications that I'll recommend. I bring out this fact that what we're doing here today, I'm glad we're on this call, because, you're learning, you're getting an education. The word community, you can never not hear enough about. The fact that we can do it online, the innovation that you can get causes growth, but I'll bring the two together. SCORE.org, I've been with for 5 years, and it's a phenomenal resource. Known, just speaking about it, hearing about it, knowing what they do, that is a tool for you. That organization and what she's doing there, Barb, with there's cost efficiencies associated with community relationship, there's education. So those are two tools. I put it out there. I'm getting no commission back from Barb, but I put them out there. So let me get into a tool that may seem overly simple, but I think one of the most powerful ones is, and I do it bad, my kids will say, wow, you still have, Dad, 10 email addresses. But setting priorities and the projects you work on, two simple tools, happy to share them. They're just items, but get used to that. I still have, unfortunately, an email list, a list on my computer of what I need to do. Then I have another draft, but just want to point this out as a tool, not necessarily this, or just do your list as you think, but prioritizing your time into what's most important. Difficult exercise, great to usually get a coach involved of some sort or bounce them off someone, because you can never tell. I'm famous for and I say it to this day, you'll hear about my next tool, which I believe in wholeheartedly before a business plan is fully developed, because I've ended up in rooms myself, drafting up what I thought was a great business plan. But the more you can bounce those ideas off people or shorten your cycle to understand if you're heading in the right direction, the better. That involves priorities. So I just reference that as a tool that you should use. I'm going to dive a little bit into, at the outset of this, I talked about the heart of the challenges that startups will face. There is one core reason, and it's painful, but I've seen it happen so many times. We can be spending, our time, a lot of our money, especially sometimes right out first, we do something, an effort building something no one really wants. And if only we could think through it and say, okay, is there a way to test the viability of that idea or mission before we just dive right in? That goes back to know your audience, but there is a tool that is fairly well known. It's been tweaked, and we give workshops on it here at SCORE, and I think there's one even coming up, but that's called the Lean Business Canvas. The picture you're seeing here is a tool that we'll give out, and it's a great exercise, I can tell you, because our goal with it is this. We have a big business plan, which is critical to your success at the right time. But at the end of the day, you go through this exercise, you're going to end up with sort of a one-page visual business plan. And it's a path that turns needs into a successful business plan. It just sort of gets you started. Great exercise. I found it important. We're not in person. Sometimes the interaction is very, very helpful, but I'm going to run you through just the segments of it, give you an example of a few so you can think about it for your business. I found it helpful for someone to take their first crack at one of these. It's not for someone that's just saying, wow, I do this once and I'm done. It's a continuous exercise that we still do with companies that have been in business, 15 years. But there's 9 blocks I told you about. Customer segment, you have your problems. Revenue has to fund this operation. Some income has to come in. A nonprofit, you'd have donors in that area. What solutions you're bringing to the table. The unique value proposition that most of you are probably familiar with in another session. Channels to your customers. Key metrics, I talk about the accounting side, which be how you're measuring the success of things. Critical, again, I can't emphasize that more. Cost structure, there's that cost side that has to, you set it up, you keep working on it to shrink it and make it more efficient. Not only sometimes can you bring down your fixed costs, but just your operating costs is important. And then is there something there that has an unfair advantage? Once you fill out these boxes, might sound like a daunting task. It's not. That one tool that I really found, it has like some hints about getting there, is a great thing to ask. We'd be happy to get that to you. So let's dive into a few and do it a little bit. What I just brought up there, the left side of this equation really refers to your product or service that you have a little bit more control over, problems you're solving. The right side is the market, things that you have a little less control over. But when it all comes together, for the whole audience, if you're talking with someone about your business, especially if you're looking for capital, having something like this on one piece of paper in front of you, talking about it, really useful tool. But let's go through one of the blocks, and I'll touch on other tools, because the next 2 sessions of finance and marketing fall into this whole area. When I talked about your customers, you want to think about questions such as, who's your intended audience? Identify 3 to 4 users who envision turning to you for solutions. What type of person do you anticipate benefiting most from your solutions? Is there a group or anticipated itching to sign up? If you haven't thought through these and just taken down notes, it's powerful what you end up realizing. This particular box also asks about Who could you get to be an early adopter? You have friends, but this is all about, finding out information before you again, dive back in. Which group will want first dips at your product? So let's talk about someone that I'm not saying they had this exact, it's been part of a study, but a good friend, good, well-known company, Amazon. What maybe they looked like when they started back there. Did they do a lean canvas? Well, there's been a few people obviously to describe what that might have been looked at but let's just use it as an example so that you can see how this process works. I'll start with that. So customers for Amazon really was as simple as those who buy books. Early adopters, avid book readers that use the internet and are willing to make purchases online. You can tell them accountant that online needs an E. And like to explore books. That's a simple equation. In the past, I've also found out, Amazon sometimes such a large picture. We have a few of these, and there's another company I'll talk to in various of these so you can get a little smaller. We helped a local truck food business try to go through this exercise. So I'll just bring these up to you so that it might be, bring a size down. They were food truck, and their systems was a healthy food truck. The customer segments for them were breakfast and lunch hours, the working people, the students. And then the rest of the days, it could be a park visitor, tourist, event, attendees, wherever they were going to park. Early adopters in their case, as it came down on their canvas, workers and students had lunch breaks, referrals, healthy living healthy living type arrangements. Top problems that you want to solve. What are the crucial problems facing your customers? I'm going to move through this so that we can, keep on time. Early existing alternatives. How else can your customers address their problems? What product services already exist? Try not to say that you try not to use the expression, no products exist yet. So always feel there's some competition, but you can do something a little extra. Who are you up against? A lot of people don't like to hear that expression. There's no competition. I'll jump to Amazon again. Their problem that they saw, bookstores are expensive. Bookstores have limited inventory. Hard to find books and get recommendations at bookstores. And they said, okay, existing alternatives, bookstores, catalogs, books, clubs. Our healthy living food truck client that we were helping had different things like there's no restricted walking distance from, dense business districts. I'm going to breeze over some of this so we can keep moving. But again, this is stuff you can have available to you with the presentation. Existing alternatives, we talked to them about traditional barbecue, prepackaged salads. Block 3, revenue stream. The revenue streams are the lifeblood of your company. So what sources of income keep your business churning? For Amazon, that was book sales, and very interesting way back when was shipping. That was an incredible idea. Just the fact of having shipping costs be a revenue line item when they first started. Solutions. How does your product or service solve the problem? All these questions, everything here is in that one tool, and it has hints for you to fill in your blocks that we'd be happy to send these same questions. Amazon Solutions, website that sells all books available. Huge piece of it was the web-based customer reviews. You used to go into the library or bookstore or something, and you'd have to go talk to someone. Shipping direct from distributor, powerful. Now we know they're just a phenomenal tool. I use it as a tool because there's a lot, if your products are starting to deliver, there's nothing wrong with leveraging off the incredible fulfillment system that Amazon has created to put things at your front door so quick, and an efficient warehouse. The unique value proposition, there's score presentations on it. I am not going to read everything here, but it has to be a compelling. 5 seconds is a rough. I've never seen myself even be able to say something I'm doing in 5 seconds, but it's the goal, communicating this very important piece of it. And then your high level concept. How does the product or service fit the bigger picture? And if we just go back to Amazon, it really just said the high level comps is Earth's largest bookstore. And take it a step further, it was like, oh, let's move it up to, supermarket or bookstore online. It's more of the marketing angle. In terms of back to our food truck business, it was more of this healthier, faster food. Well, the service, they wrote it, they got it down. Our service offered a unique combination of health, convenience, and variety. Our proprietary cooking techniques, locally sourced and organic ingredients made us an ideal food truck for individuals seeking to save time while living a healthy lifestyle. Hey guys, try to come up with a summary like that for what you're thinking, your idea, your business. I didn't get the full list of anybody, sometimes in business, it could be over a year, usually a little later maybe, but the thought of pivoting your business or diversifying starts to come into play. But starting out with the core business, something like this is very helpful. High level concept there was a healthy fast food that reaches customers on the go via food truck. They'd like to do franchise. I shouldn't include that word. Never got there, but that would be the ultimate, and then some branded products. So your channels to customers, you'll hear a lot about this one too on your marketing one. So I'm not going to dive too deep, but extremely important. How are you going to get to your customers? How will your consumers come in contact with your brand? What will they learn about your company? Where will they learn it? Will it be through social media? There's so many sites and opportunities. And guys, I'm going to talk about the tools that exist now for small business, unlike anything I ever had, opening up small business in the path to accomplish this in a cost-effective manner. All of this, I'll talk about that later. Will it be through advertising? Where will the ads be? Channels to customer for Amazon was really direct to the customer through the website. That was obviously the medium, and that's when it all started, pretty much. And then the famous path to using emails. We all can remember that. Nowadays, that path is very difficult, very expensive to try to get through. So you want to be on top of other marketing techniques that may be available to get to your customer. One thing you're going to learn, and I'd like everybody to think about, the customer, a lot of people forget all the interaction they've had with people, whether the business has been in for a while or even prior to getting into business. Those can be customers. People forget to mine, they'll call it, their existing customers for a little bit more business. Critical point, because acquiring new customers can be a very expensive endeavor, but I don't want anybody to ever stop thinking about, hey, is there something else I can do for my existing customer without taking the eye off my core competency? But what else could I do with it? Or could I introduce them to something? But at the same time, do not forget about everybody you touched in the past. I've seen so many people say, I got 500 clients. I got to get 500 more. Well, you know what? Over 10 years, they had touched 4,000. And they never really dug back in and said, hold on, let me revisit that. Now, some of them, they didn't probably like you as much, but still, that's a huge item, that going out and looking for new customer versus customer acquisition of people that you already know. Very important piece. You'll learn more about it on the marketing presentation. Key metrics. This is working, yeah, sure. I'm a CPA, so it seems easy for me, but there's a lot of industry just benchmarks that are very simple about, okay, how am I going to measure my success? What drives your product's usage? What statistics indicate how well your company is doing? What numbers best underline the opportunity for development? These are your financials. Now, for Amazon, I want to point out, and these are sort of older taglines, but they're the same. They didn't want to just know how many people are coming to the site. They really needed to drill a little bit further and say, wow, it's great to get people to the site, but if they're not buying anything, it's like they're leaving your store. So it's coming in, they're leaving. So they had to drill down. Sales per visitor, average sales transaction. So some accomplishment, some action that was taken is your best metric to try to to get. Now, some businesses, I have one client that's just in the mergers and acquisition business. It's hard for him to say, oh, how many times do I close? They do 1, 2 deals a year. So they have to start setting metrics. Wow, how many times have we had 3 calls with a customer? That's a metric that can be measured. Again, on the Amazon side, it talks about total sales to visitor ratio. These are getting into ratios of like, how good was their website at that point? Was it like really enticing people to take the next step? Yours are just as important, the website, but we do, again, have a lot of tools to use in a cost-effective manner. I'll talk about later. Cost structure is block 8. What will it cost to launch and maintain your business? You need to know that. Don't get scared of an Excel spreadsheet. Well, a lot of people still do, but it's more of like, don't have to go too far. Just make sure you start thinking about it. What do I have to buy that for? Do I have to have an office? The challenges as COVID has put on us are incredible, unfortunately. And I don't think you're going to see, this is going to be a continuous challenge. But opportunities have actually, developed that you should leverage, i.e., a known co-working space, the online digital revolution allowing us to be at home and get everything done like as if we, don't need that extra office space. These you want to just take into consideration. It's gotten, I don't necessarily like to use the word it's gotten easier, but it has. I have a number of businesses still, and yeah, does someone sort of say, where are you businesses? I'm like, well, I have 8 different business phones on a desk because they're coming through a VoIP system. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a cost-effective way to do it, but for a very cheap cost, you can have, and Barbara would be, I'm sure, happy to elaborate on that. And if you meet with her, is just, you can have a phone line, and you should, and you can have a virtual location as well as somewhere walking in to use for a day. Cost structure, just important, bringing up some ideas. For Amazon, they looked at their cost structure and they had developers and website operators. They had customer service staff. The logistics, big for them in the event. Once they got those centralized locations on, it's unbelievable what they did. I was on Fairfield University campus just the other day, and all of a sudden this machine drives by me. And it's dropping off. It's crazy though what's going on. It's dropping off something to a student. It was driving itself. This is amazing. I mean, it's stuff you have to keep up with, but not, spend a lot on it. The last block, once you finish, is unfair advantage. But this thing, a lot of people say, oh, what's your competitive advantage? Not really that. It's more about what makes you stand out, what puts you ahead of your competition. What are some of the assets that you possess that can't easily be copied? Now, don't get scared like, oh, well, I'm pretty close. And a little tweak to something can make for a successful business as long as the need is there. So I always tell everyone, you know what? There's no harm. The internet is so powerful. If you're thinking of a business and a model and something, go search it. Even call someone that you think's a close competitor of yours. That is a great way to investigate it instead of just going right out of the gate and figuring out, oh, hey, this isn't working. Amazon, sort of their unfair advantage, unlimited selection of books with great price and customer service. Once they got started, they got a pretty good lock on things. So talked about this one particular tool. I thought it would be good because you're going to then next series hear about how the best path is to get funding, part of these blocks. And the best path to marketing, which is also part of these blocks. So at the end of the day, to the right of this, the one document that you can use below that has about, 9 pages worth of just same questions that you go through. But at the end of the day, you sort of can try to take a look at your business, and you can have that in front of you while you're talking to someone, which is, it really does have an impact. It should help you organize your thoughts, but at the same token, it's just them saying, well, this person's thinking through the process. Great tool, talk about it. I do presentations on it, so maybe I'm a little biased. Let me just jump to some other ones that I've touched on. I'd love to touch on during this presentation. I think it would be We have now started to see more of this. I've particularly with the Fairfield University been trying to develop more of a project, and a lot of the universities to do this, but I'll call it the project-based assignments. And what you always find to the left is us business owners, or, we got so many tasks. And then really on the other side, you have students, you have the freelance market now place. But if you there's resources that, again, here's 3 of them that are very powerful. When I use the word project-based, I mean, it goes back to you almost that first slide, talking about what projects you think you could do that you don't have the time, or that if you had someone doing, you could focus on more. It's unbelievable. I could sit here, we do a whole presentation on this with success stories of some students that were used to help. I have a landscaping company that does my lawn. They designed the logos. This type of stuff, I want you to think through it, because getting to these interns is not as difficult as one may think, because there is these online portals, but it's just something to always keep in the back of your head. You might say, well, I don't know what to do with an intern or how to manage an intern. Well, most of the interns, if you bring it into a project base, like social media, come in and help my social media. They know a lot what to do there. So just think about this as a tool, and there can be, you can talk to a mentor and we can talk more about it. The other piece of that, I want everybody to just be aware of, the whole freelance marketplace is out of control. Right now, there's 73 million freelance workers. Google has more freelance workers than they have permanent employees. In other words, there is those 3 sites that are on. There's a lot of them, but Upwork, Fiverr, and Market Hire. If you're thinking of hiring someone, go to those sites. You're going to be amazed. I'm sure you guys are getting inundated also about with, you could get it on your text. Hey, a marketing person for $99. Maybe not that one, but some of these type of resources, there is a path to get some help I didn't have in the past. I wanted to just make that point as another tool that can help run your business out there. Last item that I'm a big, huge believer in taking advantage of, and I've learned it's tough. 60, and I've learned only because for 25 years not working for anybody, I had to I couldn't go hire someone and just put this big system in. But because of the digital revolution, there's no question in my mind, and they're referred to when you'll see it in this presentation on it. You'll hear the expression software as a service, SaaS. And also one of the hotter discussion items now are artificial intelligence, which is AI. Those 2 technologies have really, I'll consider, leveled the playing field between big companies and small companies. And you need to think about these. You can't just sit back and say, it's just, I'm a little nervous about technology or, using some software. It's part of doing business, and it drives more to your bottom line. Now, the artificial intelligence area, I don't want to over-focus on something, but people probably heard about it. In November, ChatGPT came out, and that was the largest. That ChatGPT, when it came out, became accessible to the public. AI was always accessible privately, but it became accessible to the public, and it went from 0 to 1 million users in 5 days, which is the fastest ever for any platform. I just bring this up, and it took Facebook, for instance, 2 years, Instagram, 2 years, Pinterest, if you've ever heard that expression, 4 months. I joke about it, but Angry Birds, everybody loves the gaming app. It took 35 days. I just wanted to point that out, that AI is something you should start learning about. That's why it was a very successful workshop, I think, yesterday. Don't be scared by it. We do at a watch. There's sites now where you can learn about it. I encourage you to start learning about it. I wanted to just touch on SaaS, and I'm just about done, Bob. SaaS was before AI, and that was really the benefits of SaaS. And what it is, it's not having to buy a big system. It's a software, as I said, as a subscription, and they're not expensive items. The benefits of buying something like that, when you see how they're done, and I'm going to just refer to one, I'm not saying this is the best one, but it's an example. The ease of use of these, the lower business costs, these are the benefits, the reduced installation time. These are all proven packaged products, scalable when you need it. It has industry expertise, different ones when you select. They do the upgrades and releases. And then the last item going around a circle, if you didn't follow me, was, data security and that type of stuff has become critical. These things all have that protection. And I use one as an example so you can just get a flavor for it. I've used it for 25 years and I've seen it grow. Zoho is a company. Zoho, I've been around for, I think, 25 years when I started it, but can't see all those connection, all those boxes. The whole thing here is trying to bring the CRM at the bottom, for instance, you can get for $200 per user, and it's a very powerful tool. That's a customer relationship management system. They have a books over to the left, which is your accounting paperwork. They have social platforms. They have expense report stuff. And you go in and you start plugging this into your equation. And I can tell you from all the years, it's very reasonable because these companies have a software that goes along with it. So that's the concept. Whether Zoho's the one you pick, there's a lot out there. Zoom, what we're on right now, is a SaaS model. I pay for Zoom $99 a year. If I want to upgrade storage, and those are great tools and necessary. So do not be shy to look into them, thinking that they're actually costly. But you also want to leverage, when you can, try to use the same SaaS platform. It's just because it works. I use QuickBooks. I'm a huge believer in QuickBooks. I don't use Zoho accounting. But you got to make sure when you talk to any SaaS providers, hey, if you're using something like Zoho, for instance, now feeds into Vimo. These are just software. I'm not going to get lost in it. I want to encourage you to do this because it is very cost effective. I'm going to touch on this. Yeah, I shouldn't use that. Use AI to future-proof your business. AI, and there's, again, if want information, there's sites that, we could refer you to, but AI is something you want to look into. They have video, imaging, text, is that Chat GPT, research, design, presentations, audio. Enough about the tech. I just, again, want to send the message. These are tools you should be exploring. I am done, Bob.
Okay. Thanks, Bill. Lots of valuable information there. We're going to use the rest of our time here for questions. Just as a reminder, if you have a question, please submit it using the Q&A button, and we'll take as many as we can up until the top of the hour. The first one we have comes from Liam, and came early on in your remarks. So that's the context, I think. And Liam is asking, how can we discuss our business without divulging too much?
Good question. Now, you hear a lot of people, I would try to love to step back and sort of say, okay, do you have a service you're delivering, a tech? But I frankly, with all the experience and all the businesses I've worked with, a lot of people worry too much that someone's going to copy them. And you'd be surprised. Now, there is it's referred to as a non-disclosure agreement you can get there. You can pull it offline, and it's not a bad tool to use. I don't know how far along your business you use. A non-disclosure agreement is a document that would help. Go look online. There's available ones that you could just pull off. But I don't want too many people to hold back talking about their products, because that's the whole name of the game. As I started off, know your audience and figure out if your product is sellable. So I have two areas. Yes, you can start protecting. We just filed a trademark for someone. When you get to the point of where there's something in a trademark, it is a tool to protect what you're working on. So, Bob, I just wanted to mention two things. Of course, you can have a legal document that has a non-disclosure, not a bad item. But I've had a lot of people hold back their idea, and then all of a sudden someone had a formula that developed some lighter concrete, and it was unfortunate. He kept not wanting to talk to people about it, and someone created it. So I hope that helps.
I think it's good input, but it is a fine line to kind of walk, and but I think you're better off to your point, Bill, actually getting it out there and really trying to test it. And our next question is, how can we differentiate ourselves in a saturated market? For example, a marketing agency pitted against thousands of freelancers who offer services for low rates.
How can differentiate, right? She sort of said, was it differentiate the word used?
Yes. How can we differentiate ourselves in a saturated market? You know, you talked in your remarks, I think, about, you know, you want to try and differentiate yourself.
Yeah. And I guess the one thing I want to add there is, so getting a customer, keeping a customer, you know, making the most out of a customer. 3, you know, total different animals. And customer satisfaction is, once you got that customer, your goal is not to lose it. So when I say differentiate, maybe is, if you're trying to court a customer, that's the messaging you're going to have to like add a little bit more, probably spice to actually get a new one. But once you have that customer with you, you know, then I can refer to sort of differentiating is, I usually do this in a deeper marketing discussion is, but you have a core business that you talk about in your proposition. I like to people to start even early on thinking about, okay, maybe if I could offer some diversification, I can keep touching that client. I'll give you an example. A lawn business has now partnered up with someone I know that has a pool business, and they're close partners. So they're able to keep some touch. And I guess I add that is, hopefully that's a bit of differentiating, that you're heading more towards keep in touch with that client.
Here's one, when you from Aaron, when you have a great customer and plenty of businesses, what areas should be focused on to improve and grow the business?
So it sounded like a really, really good problem. So it was a great business and plenty of customers, right?
Sorry, when you have a great customer and plenty of business, what areas should be focused on to improve and grow the business?
Oh, great. These are great questions. I probably should read them. I just can't find them. I see it flipping through. Well, the first one there is the famous, it's cost 5 times more to land a new customer than in working with an existing customer. And usually when you work with an existing customer, your profit margins are generally 35, it's in general to 50%. When you work with a new customer, it's actually usually very low because you're acquiring them costly. I say those starting points because if you have a customer, the more you can keep that customer under your umbrella, or what your expression is, sticky, the better. And what I say there is, that's what you should concentrate on. How much more can you bring to that client's relationship to keep it going? I'll use a quick example. I help people with taxes. I know something about investment management that, whoa, we're handling some of their money. Have someone in the real estate business, their mother passed away. These are just opportunities for me to keep touch with that client as a full life cycle. So my main message there would be, if you have a customer, because that's what it says, keep in touch with that customer. And best practice would be, like, if they're happy with you and you keep in touch with them and you're doing more business, the next step is clearly just saying, hey, you know anybody else that I might work with? Because you and I have such a good relationship.
100% endorse that. The referral business is an excellent way to grow your business, and it's the lowest cost way and most efficient. So I would echo that a lot. Again, we have no more questions in queue, but we do have some time. If people would like to submit another question, either through the Q&A, or if you prefer the chat, you can do that too. I don't know, Barb, if while we're maybe waiting for questions, do you want to talk about a couple of the upcoming sessions, or?
Sure. Actually, I prepared something to put into the chat and forgot about it. So thank you for the reminder. I'm going to do that right now, and then I'll say a little something about them. So we, as I mentioned, we have a partnership with SCORE of Fairfield County, and we decided that we would do this 3-part series on growing your business. So this is number 1, and it's, general business planning. The next one is going to be on marketing. It will be next month, Wednesday, the 17th. It's also going to be a hybrid workshop. So if you're in the New Haven area, we would love for you to come here. If you do, you can stay for free co-working all day. And it will be presented by Julia Gambale. She is the social media maven of She's So Social. She's got over 15 years experience of online marketing, but she had many years of traditional marketing before that. She was previously the entrepreneur in residence at the New Haven Free Public Library, and she's worked with scores of, no pun intended, scores of entrepreneurs, especially in the New Haven area. She has lots of ties to the community, including the arts community and the nonprofit community here in New Haven. And then the next workshop will be in June on Wednesday, the 21st, also at noon, also a hybrid workshop. And that one is going to be on financing for growth. I wrote 2 growth. It's supposed to be 4 growth. Sorry about that. And we don't have all the details ironed out, the specific details of exactly what's going to be covered, but I'll get that as soon as we have it. And again, I want to invite anybody who wants to come to Known. If you live in Connecticut, it doesn't just have to be the greater New Haven area. I do want to tell you something really cool. We have something going on here next Wednesday. So monthly, we do something called Wind Down Wednesday, which is a networking event really for entrepreneurs or people that want to connect with entrepreneurs. And then each time we do it, we have a fireside chat with a local entrepreneur. And next week, it's going to be Shirley Chalk of I Ping Tai Chi. She will be talking about how she has grown her Instagram account to 100,000 followers, which, by the way, as of today, she just got the notice today from Instagram. And she's done it using short form video and some very specific strategies for how to engage people in the first crucial 3 seconds of that video, and then maintaining that engagement with people once they start following her. So even if you can't come here, we will be broadcasting the fireside chat of portion of the Wind Down Wednesday, which will start at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be broadcasting it on our Facebook channel, and I'm going to actually put the link to our Facebook channel here. So, and then even if you can't watch the live Facebook, it will be, we're live streaming it, but it will be on our Facebook page after that. She is someone who is amazing. She used to be the chair of finance at Yale University, and in one of my conversations, she told me that really the reason she rose up so high in the ranks at Yale was because of everything that she learned from Tai Chi. So this is a woman who is highly accomplished, full of wisdom, and also knows really well how to achieve a true work-life balance.
That's great. Thanks, Barb. We do have time for one more question. It's from Kim, and it's kind of broad, Bill, so I'm not sure how much we can do. The first part of it is, can you expand on AI, and then followed up by what is HR automation? So maybe you can talk about AI within the HR automation zone.
That's well, the AI is new. One thing when it talks about AI, I think that really recommend the best thing to do is for someone to go. You can use the internet, go and just Google and YouTube, what is AI? And because I don't want to, it's so much better for someone to explain it like that. In terms of HR automation, I'm not sure how direct it's coming, and obviously, get some mentoring, but HR automation should go down deeper. It can mean as simple as automation would be using Paychex or ADP to do your payroll. I don't like to see small businesses trying to do their own payroll. It can then move itself up into compliance. If you're a bigger company, compliance to make sure your employees are getting the forms they need. So there's a broader, you can start reaching across the platform there for the HR automation. But I don't know how much deeper to go there, Bob.
No, I think that's those are 2 good examples. And the other thing, as Bill had mentioned earlier, SCORE ran a webinar yesterday on artificial intelligence. And if you're looking to get an introductory level there, you could catch the recording of that, which is up on our website. But unfortunately, we are out of time today, and it's all the time we have questions for. Just as a reminder, this webinar has also been recorded and will be available within the next day or so up on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org, under on-demand webinars. And our next webinar is a week from today, April 26th at noon. Topic is government contracting, getting federal contracts, with Jerry Smith presenting. And if you'd like to take advantage of that free individual counseling I mentioned, you can use the yellow bit.ly link that you see on the screen, or just click on request a mentor when you're on our website. And if I could encourage you to please fill out your evaluations that will be sent at the end of this. It really helps us going forward. Thanks to Barb Nangle and Co-working for hosting and helping planning this workshop with SCORE. And I'd like to thank everyone on the call today for attending. And a big thank you to Bill Schloth for presenting for us today. And
Great to see you, Bob.
everyone.
Nice to meet you, Barb.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again, Bill. Thanks, Barb.
Thanks, everybody.
Have
Bye
a great,
now.
have a
Bye
great day, guys.